Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. First off, I want to say that YouTubers like you have changed my life. I am a 36-year-old mother of three. I have been no contact from my narcissistic mother for 6 years. I didn't even know what narcissism was. I just finally reached a place after 30 years where I could no longer accept the turmoil and damage of having a relationship with my mom. One night, I was up late researching toxic mothers and abuse online. You can pretty much guess what the search results yielded. Eventually, I ended up on YouTube devouring every video I could. I've learned so much in such a short amount of time. It's been an eye-opening and life-changing blessing to discover that I am not alone. I will try to keep this brief and stick to the point, but I have some backstory here as necessary. My mother was one child out of 8. My mom's dad was an abusive alcoholic. Her grandmother, her dad's mom, was also terribly abusive. She was molested by her brother. I can go on, but you get the picture. There is a long-running legacy in my family of generations of abuse, addiction, and mental illness. Religion was forced down everyone's throats as a means of fear-mongering and punishment. Anyway, my mother became pregnant with me at 17. She had played with Barbie dolls until she was 16 and became sexually active. I know, what the fuck. I was alienated from my father in the worst ways imaginable. My dad tried to be there, but he was only 18 at the time. My mother fought him with everything she had. Every parental alienation tactic you can think of was used. It was vicious and unending. She married my first stepfather. She's been married 7 times at last count, and I stopped counting years ago when I was 3. My entire family was in on the lie that this man was my real father. 7 marriages. I got to stop you here because the where you were saying, you know, when you go no contact, Anonymous. One of the things we constantly have to do is go back and reanalyze everything over and over and over again. And what you're going to find is things that you just took as fact that you were told by your narcissist. Under closer inspection is a complete and total fucking lie. Case in point, your mother went from playing with Barbie dolls at 16 to pregnant at 17. And then into 7 marriages. No. No. Your mother was a problem long before she got pregnant with you. Not that she didn't come from an abusive family. She did. But this is what this is where you go from abuse victim to narcissistic abuser. Okay? Your mother makes an active choice to worsen her story, to make herself look like a bigger victim than she probably actually is. So then she can use that victimization to carry on the legacy of narcissistic abuse. Little things like that she was playing with Barbies at 16 and then pregnant at 17. I mean, think about that logically. And then when you step back out of no contact and look at it from the outside, you can look at it and say, wow, that is kind of ridiculous. But that's what they do. The most obvious, the narcissist is able to mask the most obvious of lies. And the best way to clear out that fog, the only way to clear out that fog is no contact. So when you are no contact, you have to constantly go over and over and over again these things that you just took as fact for years. My entire family was in on the lie that this man was my real father. He was the worst type of narcissist. I was abused physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. God, why is this so hard for me to type? I don't even want to see these words appear on my screen. I was not molested, but the environment was hypersexual. I'd witnessed way too much at a very young age. There was inappropriate behavior for a small child to see on a regular basis. Hearing them have sex, watching them having to watch foreplay occur right in front of me. Again, you're trying to say this was a woman who was playing with her Barbie dolls up until 16. Okay? And what this is just exposing to you how in on the lying your mother is, how calculating and planned the abuse your mother pulled off really is, because she knows to lie about that and then do the opposite with her own child. There were pornos rented and left lying around. When I was older, he began smelling my dirty underwear because he said he could tell if I'd been thinking dirty thoughts about boys from smelling them. I had no privacy, no rights, nothing. After particularly bad incidents of abuse, my mom would come to me, promise that this was the last time. Next time she would leave. Next time she would protect me. This went on for 11 years. Barbie dolls, huh? Barbie dolls. The first time my stepdad hit my mom, she left. That easily. I thought I was free. I thought I would finally have a safe home. It didn't happen that way. With my stepdad out of the picture, my mom was revealed for the covert narcissist she had always been. So, the second he actually did something to her, she's gone. Huh? She was playing with Barbie dolls up until she was 16, though, right? Calculating, evil, serving her own daughter up. Not willing to... she'll leave, not for you. She'll leave for herself and probably move on to the next dick for attention. Well, 7 times, so... She picked up right where she left off. She was promiscuous, and there was always so many different men in and out of our home. For lack of a better word, my mom was an angry, abusive bitch. I often felt tormented. There was never enough food in the house, even though she made decent money working as a registered nurse. Yeah, a nurse, a fucking caregiver. They do it because, you know what? Becoming a nurse is not... It's an easy thing to do. It's not easy to be a nurse, but if you want to try to become a nurse, it's pretty easy. And you get a lot of latitude and a lot of ability. Yeah, caregiver. Under the guise of caregiver, she's probably abusing her patients, hurting people. That's what they do under the guise of caregiver. Everything about the narcissist is a cover story. It's all cover story. And again, no contact exposes the narcissist cover story every time, because once you step back and you can clear that fog and you get that clarity, the cover story is blown. She managed to ruin every single important occasion in my life. There was always a big violent scene, always drama. Nothing was ever just good or right. There was always so much competition. And if she felt slighted or pushed out of the center of attention, there was always hell to pay. So she's basically a big child, right? A big spoiled child. That's why I can almost see you accepting the Barbie thing, because like, oh, see there, she's a big child, so she was playing. No, she's in a child in terms of her wants and her needs, not her actions. And that's where the cover story always gets blown. And that's how you know it's a cover story. That's how you know she went from abuse victim to narcissistic abuser, because she makes a choice. She makes a choice to lie about this, to connive and contrive against her own daughter. To lie to her own daughter, to say the next time he does it to you, we'll leave, but doesn't leave until the first time it happens to her. Well, thanks to my late night researching, I now know why. I have a word for it that I can wrap my head around. You know the old saying, the truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. That is so true. I went no contact with my mother towards the end of my third pregnancy. I just couldn't do it anymore. There was no main reason why. I just saw what it was to be a parent. Exactly. It finally registered with you. Like, this woman was never a parent to me. She was never a mother for me, because you knew for how you protect your children and then how your mother protected you. Like, something's wrong here. There is a major disconnect that can't be fixed. And at least you were smart enough before you tried to argue your way out of it, figure it out, or try to fix it. You knew just to cut it off. I saw my love for my own children and knew that my mom had never viewed me as a child. Exactly. There were smear campaigns, threats, lawyers, CPS visit, you name it, she tried it. She buddied up to my ex-husband and tried to stir the pot with him. It's kind of like what she did to your real dad, right? Right? Because it's all about her. That's why you were alienated from your real father to begin with, because it's all about her and her cover stories. Thankfully, he had enough sense to see through her bullshit. I have never known such a peaceful time in all my life. With each passing year, I gain more and more clarity. I have reconnected with my dad. We have healed, and we have a strong relationship now that we built slowly over the past few years. Well, that gives me hope. He is a wonderful grandfather and father-in-law to my husband. I know many of your videos are focused on people going through this torment freshly. My questions are for you, are for those of us who are no contact phase dealing with the narcissist. Ollie, I'm still in such emotional turmoil. I have depression and anxiety. Do we ever fully heal? Will there ever be a day when I wake up and I don't think about the abuse? No. You learn how to cope with it. I've said this. If you understand the moment that narcissist broke you, look, what you do is you have your coping mechanisms where you have to go back and you have to say, this happened, that happened, this happened. And then like you realize it's not me, it's them. And you can move on. This abuse occurred for decades. From the time you were born and for 30-something years. For at least 3 decades. You're not going to flip a switch and make that go away. You just don't. The clarity in what I've been saying, and you understand this because you understand this at the end. You're going to continue, the longer you're no contact, the more and more clarity you're going to see. You're going to figure out more and more every day. They got 30 years of lies and incidents and abuse to work through. You're going to, things you think you don't even remember. You see something on TV, it sparks a memory of another incident. You see something in the street, sparks a memory of another incident you hadn't thought about in 15 years, but boom, there it is. And it's another example and another example. And then you can say, well, with that incident, and then that lines up with this. Holy shit. And then you're right there again with the anger and like you... And you gotta like, this is what happens. And you walk yourself back again. This is our curse. This is what we deal with. This doesn't go away. We don't just wake up and forget it ever happened. It's never gonna happen. That's not realistic. What's realistic is we never go back. And we never forget that they did this on purpose, that they made a choice, that they're not a victim. And as much of their cover story that is already blown, you've only scratched the surface. All of us. All of us. We have decades and decades and decades of abuse to sift through. You're never going to get it all. Never. I'm not angry anymore. I'm past that. Right now I'm in a bit of a grief phase. I'm grieving for the large family on my mother's side that has disowned me. Well, they did you a favor. Don't grieve for that. Grieve for what they lost, not for you. There's no grief. They did you a favor. Did any of them lift a finger to help you in 36 years? Ever? No, they're the source of the abuse. Why would you grieve for abusers? Be gone. Be happy they're gone. I'm grieving for the years with my dad that I will not be getting back because they were stolen. That you should grieve for. I'm grieving for the relationships with siblings that were alienated against me. What can we do to heal? How do you cope with scenarios of what might have been? I'm sorry for the length of these emails. It went on longer than I meant to. Thank you for all that you do. Anonymous. Well, it's not about healing. It's about being able to get to a place of where you can confidently deal with it, where you can confidently understand what narcissism is, what the personality disorders are, and how they work. And you always remember that they did this on purpose. The might have beens, the what have beens, the what ifs keeps everybody up at night. That's life. That's part of just being human. But for us, it drives you crazy because when it's your own mother and your own family that prevents you from what might have been, and when you step back and you realize they did it all on purpose, don't worry about what might have been. Worry about what comes next. There's plenty of time because you're going to be spending plenty of time analyzing your past incidents as your narcissist cover story gets blown more and more and more. So I hope that helps. Thank you to Anonymous for your contribution and your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it growing, supported, and surviving, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.